Baby Dude is back with a Baby Dude interview. Today I have Will Fuller, aka the Vill. He is a Emmy-nominated writer, producer, rapper, composer, dad, most importantly, probably, and just a badass dad. Thanks for joining me today, dude.
Oh, man, thank you for having me, bro.
Yeah,
Good.
it's really cool to have you on here and on like a new perspective as a dad. Like, tell me about yourself, where you're from, everything that you've led you to this point.
Well, I'm originally from Chicago, and I moved to Los Angeles with my son, my only son. I have 4 kids, so he's my only son. Was born pretty much 2 weeks after he was born, moved to LA. So he's 18 now, so I've been here since then. Never looked back. This weather traps you once you get it. Once you get a taste of it, and it's LA weather. I love it out here, man. I'm just so grateful for where I'm at now because it didn't start that way for me. You know, growing up where I grew up, it was tough. But as a kid, you don't really know it's tough until you grow up. You know, and you get to look back at, wow, look at that. Look where I came from. But you know, I started in music back when I was a kid too, playing drums in my granddad's church. He was a preacher on the south side of Chicago and also a big activist, March for Martin Luther King and a bunch of things, man. He's the one that instilled pretty much my drive in me from a kid of making things my own way, you know, working for myself. He always wanted me to invent things. That was his big thing. Invent this, invent that, you know. And when I was a kid, I tried things, you know. I really respected him and always looked up to him. But he also instilled music in me. He was the first one to give me piano lessons through his church. And from there, man, like music is, even times when, you know, I tried to push it to the side, forget about it, it would always find its way back into my life because I was also always told by most people besides my granddad that music can't be a career. You know, like that's just something for fun. You know, that's something you do when you want to sing in a church choir or you just want to make beats on your own. Like it's not a real career. You can't support a family, make money off of it. So to all those people, look, you're wrong.
I dig it.
Actually, those people actually help me more than they know, to be honest. Because I've always been that type of person too that don't tell me no.
Sure.
Don't do that because that's just me.
It's always a great mentality. Prove it wrong mentality. Go get them. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So I was doing a lot of music things while I was in Chicago, but not as much as I wanted to. You know, I kind of felt like I kind of outgrew the area that I was in to where I wanted to get to with music, and then I just had a lot of other things going on that were a lot of distractions, but some good distractions, some not so good, you know. So I ended up, you know, going to college, playing ball. That was a good distraction.
Yeah, by the way, absolute baller right here. Man, we've been on some teams for a few years, and yeah, this dude can play some ball. For sure.
Yeah, you're not a bad shooter yourself, bro.
Hey, you know what I always did though? I just stand on the 3-point line, wait for you to make something, and just boom, get it.
Yep. They couldn't stop both of us.
That's right. Baller. Where'd you play ball?
I started at Northwestern, and then I ended up transferring to Rockford University.
Cool.
So yeah, man, it was. I wouldn't take back that whole college experience for nothing, man, because that showed me a whole different life, you know, a life that I always heard about or saw like on TV shows and stuff like that, but never experienced. So
like in what way? Like what? Which
you know, it felt like that felt like the only time in my life that I can actually have full control of anything that I wanted to do. And it was all in my hands. I had nobody telling me anything anymore, you know, as far as like, do this, you do that. Like, didn't have your parents breathing down your back, didn't have a curfew.
So, like, you became a man right there. Like, you
Yeah,
became a
right. Became a man and learned myself. You know, still don't think I learned myself fully in college. I know I didn't, but it gave me the opportunity to start that growth of learning who I am. You know, who I am and what I want to be, and all those things like changed a lot. The only constant denominator between any career path that I ever thought about is music. Like I wanted to be a doctor, I wanted to be a firefighter. You know, I ended up graduating with a business degree and ended up my first job was in a call center at Allstate Insurance. And it was a good, hey, I was happy to have a job out of college, but man, look, I was just like, how did I get here?
Yep.
But, you know, everything, that path was my path. And what that showed me is that wasn't for me.
Right.
I would have known it wasn't for me if I didn't do it.
Real quick too, yeah.
Right. So I ended up moving to LA, man, to make a long story short, moving to LA, and met just right up almost immediately really great people who are still some of my best friends today, Ryan and Ace. And we started our own music company. And we just started from there, man. We started making music, networking. And then from there, it's like everything just grew. People we met, man, like that. The people I met along this route have become lifelong friends and family to me now. And to me, that's kind of a sign of I chose the right way because that's what was in my heart, you know. And it brought the people. Music brought people to me, just like basketball did. Basketball brought you to me. Like basketball and music, it kind of like made me appreciate just life more. It made me look at things differently. It made me look at people differently because I grew up in an area where really I didn't grow up. It was maybe one or two white people that I would see a month where I grew up, you know, and on the south side of Chicago. Then I moved to a city in fifth grade, first suburb north of Chicago called Evanston, which is a great city too. And that's where I really started seeing and being around more white people. And it was a culture shock to me, man, to be honest, because I just wasn't used to it.
It's really interesting. And I think I'm probably the exact opposite. I grew up in Minnesota, which right now I'm not very proud of, to be honest, with the George Floyd and everything that's taken place. I didn't know that really existed there anymore. Maybe my eyes just closed to it, but I didn't, like, I grew up in a town of 800 people and there was no black people in my town. And so it's the complete opposite. And it's really, like I said, sad that it's come to this, but my parents were so good. And this is where it starts, right? With parents and being taught. Because I just showed you beforehand, I'm sitting on my desk right here, and my heroes, right? Kevin Garnett, Torrey Hunter, Randy Moss, Kirby Puckett. These were my superheroes, man. These were my idols. So like my parents really did a great job making sure I was focused in. But obviously it doesn't happen with everybody. And it starts with the parents for sure. Also, I see you on Facebook. You are as inspirational and active on this subject right now with you having kids, like you said, 4 kids. Man, tell us about that. Like you said, your grandpa worked with the Martin Luther King and was an activist there. Like, dude, I'm so proud to even know you. I just think you're such a great inspirational person. Share some of that kind of stuff or how you're feeling right now.
Thanks, man. You know what? I feel like now this is all different. This is all different. Like I've seen the Rodney King from, you know, all the way back from the 90s. And even before then, I've experienced things, and the struggle is not new. The struggle is definitely not new. And this feels totally different, man. I've never, ever, ever seen this type of support from the world. Like it's a little overwhelming. you know, because I took my daughter, she's 9, and one of my friends sent me a peaceful protest that was happening in Burbank. So me and my wife talked about it because at first we were kind of hesitant because we got a 9-year-old daughter. My son's old enough, and he does his thing. But my daughter, we was just like, what if it turns bad? Like, I just know me. I'll do anything to protect my daughter. You know?
Absolutely, your parent. Yeah, for sure.
So if something goes wrong, I don't want to put her in a situation, you know. But we talked about it, and it was like, you know what? This is during the daytime, and it's looks very much like the thing that we should take her to introduce her to what's really going on, because she knows already.
Yeah.
She knows already.
And kids are smart.
Yeah, kids are way smarter than what we give them credit for.
For sure.
Yeah, man. I just feel like this is the time. This is the time to not only let voices be heard, but let the voices be heard that were either afraid to say something before or ashamed to say something before. And these are the white people in our country. This is overwhelmingly like crazy to me because no one's ever seen this before, where so many white people are standing up. I went to the protests I went to yesterday was majority white people. And it was so emotional to be marching along, all of my white brothers and sisters screaming and yelling that my life was important. I didn't even really know how to feel.
Yeah, man, that's
Because I have all of my friends, of course. I love them, they love me. That's a given. But these are people I have never seen in my life before saying this, you know, crying and feeling the pain. I felt like they were feeling the pain that I felt my whole life, but couldn't. When we feel that pain, it's almost like a normal thing. It's just a weight that's constantly on our shoulders, and to the point where we almost just got used to it. So when something else happens, it's like, not again. Like,
yeah.
Try this and try that. Like, what can we do? The answer wasn't us. The answer isn't us.
I totally 1,000,000,000% agree.
And it was love. It was great to see that. It was great to show my daughter that, you know, one interesting thing happened at that march that I think my daughter will remember forever. We were leaving and we were getting ready to get in the car. My daughter said, "Daddy, across the street, there's a bunch of bike cops. I want to go say hi. I want to go over there and tell them they're doing a good job." And I said, "Oh, let's go." So I grabbed her out of her hand and we crossed the street. And they were getting ready to pull off. And I just went right up to the first cop and said, "Hey, man, my daughter wants to say hi to you." He pulled off his whole helmet, smiled at her, told her that she was beautiful, and asked her name, shook her hand. And that was so important because I want her to know that the cop that she saw the picture of with his knee on his neck,
Yeah,
was not every cop.
it's right. And just like I said, I struggled being from Minnesota at first, being like, that's not how everyone is there.
Right.
So
It's not how most people are there.
Right. Right.
And it's important that that kids that don't understand that know that, because I don't want her to grow up how I grew up, fearing cops. I still fear cops to this day.
Yeah. And
I get behind me and I'm scared. And I can't have, I'll do anything in my power to make sure that my kids don't have to grow up in that same world. Anybody's kids. No one should have to grow up in that world, especially in the country like America, where this is supposed to be where we're not feeling like that.
Exactly. And like, I have a 2-year-old and a baby coming, and I want them to be friends with everybody. Everyone should be cool with everyone, man. Like, there should be no issues. There should be no problems. Like, I think I saw a post you put about seeing people cross the street that you're on when you're walking. That's what? It's still like, that still happens. Like, that's unbelievable to me. And I don't know, like you said, that we're all with you guys for sure, with everybody. So
Yeah, I
I
feel it, bro.
appreciate everything you post, and I repost it, and it's super emotional for everybody. And like I feel it too, and I know it's a billion times worse for you guys, but we got you covered. We're with you for sure.
I appreciate it, man.
And you're my boy. Come on, you're my boy. Anyway,
Right.
you make music for a lot of kids movies,
Yeah, yeah.
which is huge. I looked at the list, right? We got Ice Age 5, Trolls, Fast and the Furious on Netflix, the animated Fast and the Furious, the Muppets. Like, dude, you have a huge list, and also the latest album you did, where you have is it the single "The Gods," right?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, it's I guess I'm digging into you a little bit more, and I've always known you, but like playing ball, and I knew you're a musician, but like
Yeah.
on the list, like Emmy nominated, you're just a stud of a dude. How was having that career building while you had kids? Just for all the dads and parents out there to hear how you balance both, because you obviously had to work your ass off to do that.
Yeah, that's true, man. Just being a dad, a husband, and have a career in music, I think it's taught me to be the most disciplined person I can be with my time, and making sure that my time is fair for every aspect of my life. And I've also had other friends to uh, comment, man, how do you even do this? And for me, like, it's not even a second thought. It's just that I know, boom, I have to do this here, boom, I have to do this here, boom, I have to do this here, and I don't even think about it at times. I just know that I try to balance it to make sure that I'm not neglecting any part any part of my life. And sometimes, the work part of it, sometimes you can't control that because you have to get work done. You have to pay the bills and all of that. But I know when that happens and that time comes, it's like, okay, I tell my daughter, Daddy's gonna be at work for this amount of time. That's the thing with kids. They just want communication just like adults do,
Sure.
especially little girls.
Yeah. And I have two boys coming. I might not know, because if we try to shoot for a third one to have a girl and we have three boys, dude, like
Yeah, man. your girls are way more inquisitive.
sure.
Yeah.
And as they are as adults too. So
Exactly. And that helps me she helps me be a better dad to her because of that. So she'll ask me, so every time I walk up there, she's a big daddy's girl. I can't leave out the door with her, Daddy, where you going? Daddy, where you going? And at first I was like, oh, why you keep asking me this? Why? But I learned that she's asking because she really wants to know. And if it's somewhere that she can come with me, she comes.
take me wrong. Yeah.
And I bring her with me as much as I can to things, even in my work and in my studio, because she can come to my studio, anytime she wants. I've done music with her. So I involve her, and I try to involve my whole family in my career, because I just think that's important for them to know what I do, how I do it, how it works, and it makes them feel like they're a part of it, as well. And even all the way down to my wife, like she tries to do the same with me with her work. I don't understand it fully. She's in market research, but she does explain a lot of stuff to me and opens my eyes up to a lot of stuff that she does. And I think that balancing that balancing act is important and necessary for fathers, because then it puts you there. You always hear like, oh, your dads are never there. Like, you always hear that we don't get the credit we deserve. Father's Day is just really another day. It's really Mother's Day. Like, we hear so much crap about ourselves as dads that we're used to it.
Yeah.
But I think us dads out there we already know how much we do. And the good dads, I wouldn't say the good dads, man. I think if you're a dad and you're raising your kids to the best way that you can, you are a good dad. But I think the dads that want to go above and beyond, they look at ways that they look at themselves in the mirror more, if they, the kid did something that, you had to yell at your kid or be disciplined about, you should go actually like afterwards, like, did I handle that right? Did I do that right? And we question ourselves a lot, because we want the best. At the end of the day, we only want the best for them, but
Right.
they also, best for them is not always what they want.
I feel like if you are questioning yourself, you're doing a service for yourself and your kids. Like
Exactly.
if you're a dad dictator up in there and you have one way and you don't dissect it, that's an issue, man. Like
You're
I
losing the
get it.
kids. You're losing them.
That right now there's a huge dad movement, and that's kind of why I started this whole Jeff the Baby Dude thing to help, like, kind of put that out there. It's like the dad movement now it's not just like you said, it's important to be there, but you can't just be there. Like you got to be active. Like you have to be helping. I almost think like at this point now, as a dad, you can't just help, right?
Right.
You have to do your part. You are a dad. You do what you're supposed to do, right? It's not
Right.
just I'm helping my wife or whatever, or helping the mom. No, you
Right.
do your dad part. So I think it sounds like you go above and beyond. And no disrespect to the dads that bust their ass and work and can't be home all the time for providing, but that's the balance that you said you had to try to find, and so you weren't just that dad, right?
Right. And I'm lucky. I'm lucky in that matter. I also have 2 older daughters that are 27 and 28 this year that I didn't have the opportunity to raise because I wasn't with their mom. So I wasn't the same dad to them as I am to my 2 kids and my wife because I wasn't physically there. I was always there, but it's not the same. So I learned a lot from that experience too. And I sympathize with them more on how they had to grow up because it wasn't that, regardless of the situation, it wasn't fair to them. You know what I mean? As kids, it wasn't fair to them. So I learned a lot from that, and also moved that into the dad who I am now with my wife and our kids that we have, to make sure that I'm just being the best version of me that I can be to them.
Absolutely,
And,
for sure.
and that's my goal, man. And it's not easy for us dads. Like it's definitely not easy for us because at the same, we're human. At the same time, we get mad, we have all the same emotions as a regular human, but sometimes as dads, we can't show our kids that.
Yeah, you put on that face a little bit. Yeah.
All of them. You can't come on all of them. For me personally, I try to be who I am regardless around my kids. I want them to know me. I want them to know the real me. For me, because to me that makes them comfortable showing me the real them, showing themselves to me.
Yeah,
Um,
if you're open, they will open.
exactly. Especially once they become into the teenage years. Like Jordan was the first teenager I raised, and I got to see every part of his life change. Because teenage years are hard, man. And I forgot. It's been a while, man, since I've been a teenager.
Right.
But you forget, like you don't know who the hell you are as a teenager.
No idea. Well,
And
speaking
you're
of,
so emotional.
go ahead. No, sorry, go ahead.
No, I said you're just so emotional, and you're finding yourself. So every little thing bugs you or gets you upset, or all of those emotions, man. And I had to learn how to react to all those things all over again with him.
Yeah, dude. Like I said, I work at a high school. I see it with kids, man.
Oh,
one day they're the nicest kid on the planet. Next day is just
yeah,
like
yeah.
not
Because
have.
they go through things too.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. And like you said, they probably sink in harder. Like we've all been through it, so we know how to react to it. They see
Right.
it the first time and how they make them feel. They don't have to do with it, so they take it in every direction, and it's
Yeah.
wild.
That's important.
About your
That's
son.
important. It's important that you say that, bro, because we forget that that's the first time emotion for them. And for us to come in when they bring it to us or show it to us, for us to come in and say, you don't know what you're talking about. Like, because we give them that feeling like we've been through this before. We know more than just listen and be quiet and listen. Like, that automatically turns them off.
Yep, because they need a process. Our words don't matter at that point. It's not going to matter. As smart as you are and as much as you've been through, they didn't do it. They had to do it.
And they want us to just sit back and listen.
Right. Sounds like a good deal. I'm okay with it, right? Just listen. When they're going crazy? Oh, shoot. Much, man. One question I've always wanted to know. So, like I said, you are the baller you are, college basketball player. That you did your thing. Your son, basketball stud too, right?
Yeah.
He's going off to college to play ball, which is awesome. Now, this is my question because I love basketball. You know how much I love playing.
Yeah.
What's the line on pushing? I think that's the thing for a lot of parents is how hard you push kids to be in sports, or do you let it be and let them do their own thing and figure out their own feet kind of thing? What was your take as a dad, loving basketball and having him start playing without pushing too hard? Because I know how competitive you are and how good you are. Mm-hmm. What's your take on that?
So, our basketball saying certain things you can't teach. That's kind of my take on it. So with Jordan, with him, I just kind of like explored different sports with him because I knew he was a very active kid. Like he was always moving, always wanted to be doing something. I was like, okay, I got to get this kid in something. And because I played basketball, that wasn't even the first thing that I introduced him to. Because I wanted to make sure that he was doing something that he would be happy doing. And I think that's the most important part. Like he could have ended up playing golf and I would have been finding him golf instructors because I don't know the first thing about teaching how to play golf. But that's what he wanted to do, then that's what he would have did. So with him, we put him in T-ball. He was in tried baseball, he tried soccer, like he tried all these different sports, and basketball was the last sport that we tried. And again, he was only 6 years old trying all of this.
Awesome.
And out of all the sports he tried, basketball was the worst that he was at. He was the worst at basketball. But he told me, he said, "Daddy, I want to be good." I said, "You like this game?" He said, "Yeah, I want to be good. I want to be great." And I said, "You sure?" I said, "You willing to do the work?" I asked him all these questions. You willing to work hard? You willing to work harder than any of your teammates? You willing to work harder than anybody else you see play? He said, "Yes. If it's going to make me great, I want to do it." And I said, "Okay." So from that point on, I started teaching him everything that I knew.
Which is a little bit, a little.
A little bit. Yeah, a little bit. And that's how it all started, man. And then by the time he was 10, he was playing over at the YMCA out here, and he was playing at 10 years old in the high school league. Because I just knew as a baller, you only get better if you play with better.
Yep.
And I was fortunate to know that as being a baller, and a lot of parents didn't know that. So a lot of parents that got their kids in sports, they just don't know that. That's how you get better, really. That's the secret to get better.
I totally agree. Yeah.
Get out there with some dudes bigger than you, get knocked down, get back up, like work harder than any kid your age. That's is not a secret,
Yeah.
It's not a secret to success. And that's the approach I took with Jay.
That's awesome. I think that's the most, because if you push without him being invested and want to do it, that's just going to turn them off to wanting to play.
Oh, I've seen it. I got friends with kids like that. You can just see it. Like I got friends bringing their kids like to different workouts and stuff, and you can see it on the kid's face, like, "Man, I don't want
it." Right. It just got okay. Here's the question for you: has he beat you one-on-one?
Yeah, bro. Like,
oh no.
Yes, but we go back and forth now.
Yeah.
He's so fast. That's where he really beats me. His speed is crazy fast. And mine is too. Like,
yeah, you're a fast.
I just turned 46, but
I cannot believe
I still run a 4.5.
I saw that. I do. I see you working, man. I'm trying to keep those home workouts going too. So I don't it's hard. It's hard right now.
Yeah, bro. So I'm still in some pretty good shape, but this since I taught him everything I knew, when we play against each other, he knows all my moves. I know all his moves. So he even tells me that you're the hardest person to play against. You know all of my moves, like, and even the ones that are pretty much unguardable, like you have the instinct of, because you taught me this. So he likes playing one-on-one against me.
It's gonna make him better for sure.
Because of that, to this day. But definitely, man, that kid has beat me. All I want is to win one game now. We can play 10 games. As long as I win one game, I'm satisfied. Like, I got you that one game, though. You let a 46-year-old beat you, so I'm good.
Exactly. Young guy about to go play college basketball. Like, if you're winning a couple at 46, dude, like, hey.
Right.
That's awesome, man. That's so much fun. And I take that in a lot because, like, I don't want to be that dad that push super hard. But I think you did a great move and just like, hey, try this, and see what happens. I think that's the best move. Like, hey, throw them in soccer. Try baseball. Like, I grew up in Minnesota. We didn't play soccer. I mean, shoot, if he wants to play hockey, being from Minnesota, I never played hockey, and I don't know what the hell I'm doing with hockey. If you want to play hockey, do your thing. But that's awesome. Is there anything else you got coming out pretty quick? You've been working at home. What else you want to plug? What you got?
I've been working back and forth from home and just going to my studio because it's just me. So I really hadn't any problems with social distancing or anything like that going to my studio. So that's good. But oh man, I just got done working on a movie coming out with Casey Affleck.
Okay.
So I just did a whole end title credit song for that movie. I played at the end of the movie. Not my voice on it, but I wrote it and produced it. Just got done working on that. Working on some stuff for the UFC in the works. Just got done finishing up some stuff with SpongeBob, which comes out in August. Wrote a song with Snoop.
Awesome. Very cool.
Yeah, so that was cool. And then just a bunch of other stuff that I'm working on right now, man, that is good. I eventually want to work on another song as an artist. I released one album and another single so far in 2020. But my artist stuff I do when I have the time to do it, because that's like, for me, that's my funner part of the work. Making music for the kids and stuff like that. That's, man, I'm blessed for doing that, because it's so much fun. And a couple of co-writers I work with, one of them is just one of my best friends, Alex Doringuez. We actually wrote the first song that got me and him both our first Emmy nomination, which is the All Hail King Julian show. So, I mean, from that, man, like, we just been building and working with, building relationships at, different production companies, and just moving, man, trying to stay active and keep it going, keep it pushing, and at the same time, balancing this dad life,
Exactly. And I think you're doing a hell of a job, man. Like I said, thank you for coming on here and explaining all this stuff, and even the Black Lives Matter stuff that we talk about. And I think it's super important. I can't wait to post this because, like I said, you're super inspirational. You have a great voice, and you're a loving dude, man. Like,
thanks, bro.
I see your positivity. Right after everything happened, I see your posts, and you're not on there hating. You're trying to get people. We all here to love. Like, and I think your approach is fantastic and badass. And like I said, I'm so happy to know you, and I can't wait to have you come to my house when this whole thing is over and come for a barbecue or something, man.
Seriously, bro.
Or play some ball. Shoot.
Yeah,
I don't want to play your son because he's gonna kick my ass for sure.
Yeah, don't play him yet.
unless I get hot on the 3-point line, maybe. But I'm gonna be shooting far out like Steph Curry. That's what I'm gonna do. Holy man. But I appreciate it. Where can we follow you? Where can we find you? Facebook, Instagram, your website. I'm sorry, say your website one more time.
Website is www.thevill.com, THAVILL.com. You can find me on Facebook, Will Fuller, Will 1L. Instagram, I am the Vill, am underscore the Vill
And I'll
on
post
Instagram.
all that stuff on here too, as well.
Yeah. Then on Twitter, I'm on Twitter also under the Vill.
Perfect.
Yep.
Dude,
And I'm active on all of them, man.
this is so fun. I appreciate it. I could probably go for another half hour, but
I know.
it's going to get long for people to watch. Baby dude out. Thank you, Will Fuller, again, a.k.a. The Vill. Check this dude out. What a stud. Awesome.